Did you know that the average person makes 35,000 decisions a day? 35,000, that's crazy. Are you trying to make an important decision right now? Maybe you're in the crossroads of a big business decision. Should I invest in something? Should I revamp my business? Or maybe it's a personal decision, but it's important. If this is you, stay tuned. So today I'm going to talk about how to make a powerful decision. And this was prompted recently by a prospective client that I was talking to on the phone. You know who you are if you're watching this video. And I love getting ideas for content because let's think about it. If you have an important decision and you're not taking action or you're waffling, I want you to think about the negative impact that has. So first off, I thought this was fun to just kind of look up the definition of decision. So a decision is a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. The action or process of deciding something or of resolving a question. Now think about it. Do you have a question that's burning in your mind? How can I get to the next level of my business? How can I get out of my own way? Should I leave this relationship if it's personal? I know for me and my journey, I've had many important decisions where I had to make one. Yes, I actually had to make one. One of the interesting things that I've heard about a decision is to decide is to bring death to an option. And I know that sounds pretty severe. So what does that really mean? Well, it means you have a couple different things that you're thinking about. Well, you're picking one in this case. Sometimes there's many roads that you can go down, but let's just say you have to make a decision. Maybe just it's one decision or it's between this or that. But it is a very important decision, and I'm going to use it in the context of your business. Now, so we're going to talk about the analytical process of making a decision, but I want to take it a step further. I want to talk about making a decision that is in alignment with who you are. And what does that really mean? Well, if you're driven, you're ambitious. What I've found in the business world is that you cannot make all of your decisions from a rigid analytical box. In my experience and the clients that I've worked with that are in alignment with me, I'm all about alignment. I don't like to work with people that are so rigid, black and white thinking. Now, if I'm working with someone, let's just say I get on a call with someone and they're considering my private coaching programs, and I have other courses that you don't have to necessarily work with me one-on-one, but to work with me at a higher level, it is an investment. And what I find when people come to the call, there's two types of people. There's the one person that says, oh yeah, I'm in. When can I start and what information do you need? Now, the second person is, I've got to think about it, or I'm not sure. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily bad because sometimes you need this space to really ask yourself important questions that will bring depth to an option. Let's bring it back and look at some of the simpler decisions that you're making every day. Now, some of these are subconscious, some of these are conscious decisions. We're going to talk about the conscious decisions. So the conscious decision could be, what should I eat for breakfast, right? Do I want to eat oatmeal? Do I want to eat cream of rice, egg whites, all of that good stuff? And you might be thinking that sounds good or it sounds disgusting, but I just happen to make those decisions. Actually, I remove sometimes that decision-making process by creating a meal plan, but that is another video in and of itself if you're geeking out about nutrition. So I eliminate the multiple decisions and multiple breakfast options I can choose that are going to be in alignment with my goal, and that's key. Also, other decisions, what to wear. If you are a fashionista, I am very much a fashionista. If you don't know my background, I tell my story how I wanted to be a fashion designer, couldn't get in because my grades weren't good enough, sob story, but come full circle and I'm doing my passion. I'm doing what I love to do the most. So actually, they made the decision, the college administration made the decision for me. So I had to choose another option. But let's bring this video back. Let's bring it back to focusing on a difficult decision. Now we're going to focus in the context of a business decision. Now we can look at relationships. There's so many different things that we can do, but you're watching this video because maybe right now in your business, you know you're playing too small. You know you don't feel the same passion and inspiration for your business that you did before. Maybe you're attracting the wrong types of clients or no clients at all, or customers, whatever you're selling. Maybe you feel like your business is just taking a turn and like there's something that has to change. So what happens when you're prompted to make a decision, a couple different ways this can come up. It can come through chaos, okay? So a catastrophic event forces you to make a decision. And sometimes making that decision, it's like a no-brainer because you're not thinking. Other times, you know, it is an important decision you have to make. Maybe you have a longer time frame and you're kind of oscillating like, I don't know, and you're in the research phase. So if you're in that place, let's just say with your business and you feel kind of blah, I'm not taking action, I'm procrastinating. So these are all signs and symptoms that you need to make a decision. So once you understand that this feedback that you're getting, it could be internal and external. So taking really an inventory of your feelings and also looking at your business. Do I really feel in alignment? Are the clients and what I'm doing, the work that I'm doing in my business, is that really inspiring? Has the market changed? Do I need to go a different direction? And so all of a sudden, because you're feeling this way, you're getting that intuitive voice that says something needs to change. And you know that by that internal voice, or maybe it could be a feeling. Now, what you don't want to do or what you don't want to experience is making yourself sick. And what I mean by that is feeling stressful thoughts, right? You're pairing the negative thoughts that's on a feedback loop with your feelings, and all of a sudden you're feeling sick. If you don't make a decision, that will compound over time. I have seen so many driven entrepreneurs and leaders who are mulling and stressing over their decision. Actually, they're not making a decision, and their body is manifesting dis-ease. So when you're thinking the stressful thoughts, and let's just say you kind of compartmentalize that, if you don't address it, where does that energy go? That energy has to go somewhere. It goes to the cells of your body. Your cells have a consciousness. And when you look at epigenetics, and the word epi means above, it literally is turning on the cells that activate dis-ease in your body. If you want to learn more about epigenetics, you can. There's so many books, there's so many great books out there, but I'm not going to get into it today. So can we just agree that we know if we're thinking stressful thoughts and we're feeling stressful thoughts over time, if we don't address it, we can make ourselves sick. So that is why it is important to commit to making a decision. So I want to ask you a couple of questions about your decision. Making this decision, will it help you to be more confident in your business? Will it help you to be more clear? When you're clear in your business, what happens, the people and resources appear. See, a lot of times when people making decisions, if I am investing in X, Y, and Z, how is this going to work? A lot of times you don't know all of the steps of the how. Let's just put that aside, because what I have found, once you make the decision, and you know it feels in alignment with your values and who you are and how you want to show up in the world, then I find the right people and the right resources show up. I'm not going to go through this extensive process on all of the logistics of making a decision. I can be very analytical about this, especially if you're in any kind of risk assessment industry. You're probably way too analytical and you probably will not trust this process. So this video is probably not for you. Now, I like to marry both the analytical side and more of the intuitive side. A lot of business leaders actually, they do understand their intuition. Those that are powerful and understand how to tune in and trust their intuition make better decisions. So you might be asking yourself, well, how do I know, or how can I trust that making this decision is going to be right? Well, I have to tell you, if I go back in my timeline and look at some of the major decisions, I'm talking major decisions in my business that have worked and have also been a disaster. I want to talk about the disaster. I'll talk about one of them. I made a decision. I'm not going to get very specific here. I just want to keep this short, but I made a decision to invest in a company that was promising me all the bells and whistles. And I thought it was too good to be true. And I have to tell you, I was infatuated by what they were saying. I was impulsive. And I was acting a little bit out of desperation. And I knew that in the background of my mind. I really wasn't making the decision from a sense of feeling powerful. And that cost me $50,000. And what I find interesting is this company was totally out of integrity. I'm not going to be a victim in this story, but I could have taken that decision, okay? And I could have projected it into the future and told myself, you know what? Everyone is a crook, right? Everyone is just out to get my money and they're not going to deliver on their promises. However, I decided that I was not going to do that. That was a benefit of that happening to me because I was going to be more diligent and more connected with how I was going to make a decision. And how I was going to do that is I was going to be somewhat analytical, look at, does this make sense and what I'm getting and doing this? And then also tapping into more of my intuitive side. Okay. So I really want you to connect with this. Intuitively, when I would make a decision in the future after that event, I would ask myself this question: does this resonate with me? And also look at the risks. Okay, if I do invest XYZ, can I be okay with the loss? Now, I think it's important to balance your mind on both sides, because if you don't, then you're kind of living in a fantasy. It's kind of like if you're hiring a personal trainer to get in shape and you're not willing to do what it takes in order to get in shape. Training, eating healthy. So after you've made that decision, you also have to do that work, whatever it is in respect to that decision. So this is where it gets interesting, because when you're making a decision, ask yourself, am I willing to do what it takes? Be honest with yourself, because a lot of times what happens is that people aren't honest with themselves and they really don't want to invest in X, Y, and Z because they're not willing to do what it takes. If you have a fear, you can break through that, but you want to ask yourself honestly. Otherwise, you're just getting infatuated and you make that decision and then you're beating yourself up and then there you go. So you always want to make a decision from a place of feeling powerful and centered, looking at both sides. I always say looking at some of the drawbacks, some of the negatives. If you're investing a chunk of money, is that a drawback? Well, it is somewhat of a drawback because that's money that is going to be taken from your bank account and then you're giving it to a company or someone that you're investing in. And there is a potential that, maybe you're not taking the action. If it's something that you have to put forth the effort in, then that would be a drawback. I want you to also look at some of the benefits. What are the benefits if I do this? So you want to have a balanced mind, and that is the best place to make a decision. Looking at both sides, but really looking within yourself and tuning out the noise of your past and, of course, other people. Because other people, if you're asking their opinion, it might be misaligned. So be careful in who you ask. Oh, should I do this? Because you could also take their past bad experiences into your decision-making process. and then it's a recipe for disaster. Another thing I want to talk about in making a decision, if you had a situation like I did, and let's just say you didn't get over that, and then you're carrying your past emotions, the trauma that you've internalized, and you're bringing it into the future. Can you see where you're allowing that old identity that was here, that made decisions, and you're projecting it into the future? And that is actually disempowering. So you don't want to be too elated about the decision, and you don't want to feel too negative. You want to feel balanced, making a powerful decision. So another question I want you to ask yourself is, why am I making this decision? Am I making this decision because I know I want to grow my business, I want to make more money, like I really want to improve my life? If that is your decision, so is what I'm investing in going to give me that potential benefit? Do I have some fears around that? Am I lacking some of the confidence of getting myself out there in a bigger way? And the reason why I bring this up, if you feel unclear on your business vision, maybe it's changed, maybe you're just kind of feeling out of sorts, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not taking action, you're procrastinating, you're hesitating, then one of the programs that I do recommend, and yes, shameless plug, is the Fearless Vision and Goals course. And who is this for? Well, it is for the entrepreneur or leader that feels like your vision is just fizzled out. You don't feel inspired and you feel like you're procrastinating. You also know what you should be doing, but you're not taking action. So one of the things that this helps you with is it helps you to dial in clarity for your business. When you get clear on your vision, your business, your mission, while you're here to make your mark, the people and resources show up. I work with leaders all around the world. And what's really cool is when I have them create their vision, and it's nothing that is not in alignment with who they are. And that's the key. You want to create a vision that is congruent and fluent with who you are. And it doesn't seem so outrageous. You can build upon this, just like you're building a muscle, right? You can build upon it. You can strengthen it as you go. And what's really cool is they'll read it and they're like, Heather, this came true. My vision of being a leader, being sought out, being this, and this has come true. And I know that it works. So I find when you're creating a vision, you want to be clear. The clearer you are, the people and resources appear. I 100% guarantee this. You also want to be congruent. So you don't want to create unicorn goals. A unicorn goal is just a fantasy goal that you know you're not going to take action on, and it's not true to who you are. And let me just raise my hand. We've all been there creating those unicorn goals, right? And then next step in this course is it helps you to take your big vision, okay, your macro vision, it's big, and shrink it down into the micro world. And what that means is we take the big vision, we shrink it down and chunk it down into small goals that are doable. How many times have you had like this big vision? I want to rule the world. Okay, that's all great. But what part of the world do you want to rule, right? Where do you want to really spend your time and energy and attention that you feel so aligned with? Like, this is your calling. Like, this is what you're here to do. The process really helps you to drill that down and then just break it down into small steps. So for example, what if you wanted to work with corporations? Let's just say, what kind of corporations? So this process helps you to drill it down. I want to work with tech corporations. So what aspect of that really excites you, ignites your fire? So you get it so drilled down. So you've got this big vision and there's more steps to it, but I'm just kind of like paraphrasing it for you. Then we look at the next goal. Okay, if I want to do that, then I have to shrink it down. I have to get clear on some of the services that I am creating, right? That would be maybe step number one. Maybe you already have that created and you really need to create a consistent plan where you're putting yourself out there. Now, would you agree? On some level, you got to market yourself. You have to focus on the highest priority steps. So imagine if every day you put yourself out there and maybe on the 7th day or 30th day, it's different for everyone, you got an email and said, hey, I'm interested in your program or your services. I want you to consult with X, Y, and Z. Whatever it is, this is where the magic happens. This is where the magic happens because you're shrinking it down. It helps you to also, the Fearless Vision and Goals course helps you to recalibrate your mind. All the work that I do, there's some kind of mindset component. This is important. You can't just have a vision board or just write down goals without aligning your mind, creating a new mindset, a new identity of how this person operates. That future self, you have to connect with it. You cannot make decisions and behave and have the same beliefs from your old identity. That is really key. Now, once we get into my higher level programs, we dive deeper into that. But the Fearless Goals and Vision course is the perfect course to prime your mind to start connecting with your vision, getting excited, taking those next steps and breaking it down. Now, if you're feeling like you're stuck because you're feeling like an imposter, you're having low confidence despite your expertise. So you're competent, but you're lacking a little bit of the confidence, right? Know what I mean? And you're not taking action. So you really want to focus on that confidence so that you can put yourself out there. I highly recommend the Confident Leadership Bootcamp. So we solely focus on intrinsically owning your value. Do you know if you don't own your value on an internal level, you cannot expect for people to pay you or get your work out there. Think about it this way. Imagine if you're dating. I don't know if you're single or married or whatever, but let's just imagine you're in the dating world and you go out on a date and you're not that confident. You're like, I don't know if they really like me. And how do you think that is going to make that other person feel? I know when I was in the dating world, I could tell, I would gravitate towards the men that were confident. The guys that were less confident, I just didn't have a connection with. So can you see that being confident, if we translate this into the business world, it makes a world of a difference. Even if you've had years of experience, maybe you have a PhD, a master's degree, you know your stuff, right? You can teach it in your sleep. That doesn't mean that you've mastered the confidence level, okay? So maybe you've had some things that have happened to you recently where you are second guessing yourself. And guess what? Every leader that it has something extraordinary to bring in the world. And when I say the word leader, it could be leader in a company or an entrepreneur. They all feel that way. They feel like an imposter at some level. Actually, there was a study done, and I believe the percentage was like 80% of people have felt like an imposter at one time. So when I'm working with high-level CEOs or entrepreneurs in their business, trust me, they have it. You're not alone. And this course, each course actually comes with a vision journal. So you can follow the steps and you can use the journal. It will help you to, actually both of them help you to map out your tactical steps that you need to do and focus on the day. What I will say lastly about having a journal and why this is important. This journal really specifically helps you to reorganize your mind. It helps you to offload all of your thoughts and plans and goals onto paper. Why is that important rather than putting it into a digital pad or typing it online? Well, the research shows that when you're actually taking pen to paper, you're activating your sensory and motor neurons that are responsible for shifting those subconscious programs and patterns and getting you into better habits. Moreover, it's so important today with social media that you be analog. You go off the grid, so to speak, because our brains are actually getting slower through the dopamine hits with being online all the time. Now, I really promote being analog. Now, can you be analog 24/7? It's going to be challenging, especially if you have a business online. But when you integrate those practices, you give yourself a break. And this is where you have the inspiration. This is where you get the confidence to be a leader, to make your mark in this world. The links will be below. So I highly recommend that you do that. And if you're watching this video, I will have a timely offer to save on these programs. So if you've gotten this far, you'll see the coupon code You put that in. Again, this will be time sensitive. So if you're watching this video later, it may not be available, but just buy it anyways. Invest in yourself. Invest in your vision. And the last thing I will say, I do have my 5-day free Fearless Confidence Challenge. So it's 5 days to get out of your own way, recalibrate your brain. And if you like that challenge, then you just jump into the Confident Leadership Bootcamp. So if you're still kind of in the fence, take the challenge, commit to yourself for 5 days. If you can't commit to yourself for 5 days, then there are some specific programs that are getting in your own way. And I know now more than ever today, people are all over the place. They're overwhelmed. They can't master their focus or become disciplined. This is my wheel of expertise. I teach people how to dial into that focus, that clarity, how to get out of their own way, rewire those programs in their brain so that they can really master who they want to be. So if you watched this far, thank you. I know I've talked a lot. I hope this is inspiring. I know this video is a little bit longer. I haven't made a video in a while, but I really felt inspired. I really felt inspired to speak with you. And I know I'm speaking from my heart because none of this is scripted. This is just coming from my wisdom, my expertise, my mission, my vision in helping people just like you, helping entrepreneurs and leaders to get out of their own way and knowing that you are worthy. Because when you feel worthy, that's when things start happening. When you're clear on your vision, the doors open up. You're in that place of receiving abundance. So that's it for today. I know that's a lot. Until next time, this is Heather Pickin, and live fearlessly.